I found this story where it shouldn't have been, and once you hear it, it doesn't let go.
Part 1, Echoes in the Stone. This story is called The Hatchery Below, and I need you to forget everything you think you know about dinosaurs, because what they bred down here wasn't a species, it was an intent. A predator built to breed, to wait, to adapt, and it doesn't stay in cages. Written by Mr. D if you like horror. Born in the dark, in places we were never meant to build. Subscribe now. This is part 1, Echoes in the Stone. The Eden Vault project was supposed to be a miracle of engineering, a subterranean zoo reserve built over a mile below the Mojave Desert. Its mission: housing bioengineered dinosaur hybrids in a fully artificial cave ecosystem. Real rock, real soil, simulated air currents, but sealed from the surface by 6 layers of reinforced steel. What no one mentioned, what never made it into the tours or the documentaries, was the funding: private defense contracts, black budget biotech labs, quiet whispers about weaponized evolution. I worked guest logistics, nothing fancy, just moving school groups and VIPs through airlocks and safety rails, then sending them back, up to the surface with merch bags and selfies. But I heard things, security protocols that changed without explanation, biometric scans that suddenly failed, whole subwings of the reserve blacked out on the internal map system. We had 3 deep pens, massive chambers at the lowest level, designed to simulate a true cave biome. No light, just geothermal warmth, algae, walls, and hidden cameras. They said the species inside were blind, nocturnal, stable, but they never let us near them until the power went out. It was supposed to be routine maintenance, a 6-hour lockdown. Nothing moved, no tours, no surface access, just a skeleton crew of 8, trapped at sub-level 6, with 47 species sealed in underground. Tanks and enclosures. The lights flickered for exactly 7 minutes. Just long enough for the door to pen 3 to fail. I remember hearing it open, that sound, like stone scraping against bone. And then, silence. We joked at first, gallows humor. Guess the raptors are free. Hope they're friendlier now. But when Daniels didn't come back from the generator corridor, the jokes stopped. We found his tablet first, cracked, covered in something thick and dark. His body was never recovered, just a smear of drag marks on the metal floor, and a long, jagged scratch on the wall that hadn't been there before. We called it in every channel, every frequency, but no answer. We were sealed in, no elevator, no backup. Just 8 of us, then 7, then 6, and that's when the sound started, clicking, not from the pens, from the vents, rhythmic, slow, too deliberate to be system noise. They were hunting us, but not like animals. They weren't charging or roaring. They were probing, watching how we reacted, mapping our fear. I swear I saw one, just once, at the edge of the emergency corridor light. Black skin, reflective, a skull like a blade, no eyes, but it tilted its head when I saw it, like it was asking what I would do next. That night we sealed ourselves in the mess hall, and on the glass, written in blood or something just as thick, were the words, "Warmth is life, hatch us." We thought we were in a zoo, but we weren't the keepers, we were the heat source. The Hatchery Below Part 2. They hunt in the warm. The lights didn't come back on, not fully. Just red pulses every few minutes, like the place was breathing, like something had taken control of the cycle and didn't want us to see clearly. We were down to 6, Daniels gone, Hutchinson gone, and now Ramirez dragged, screaming into sub-access tunnel B. After something tripped the override door and then cut the power feed to the cameras. I was watching the monitor when it happened. I saw her heat signature blink, then vanish. Didn't fade, didn't move, just absolutely gone. Like something colder than the background had swallowed her whole. That was the worst part. They weren't just fast, they were deadly quiet. Seriously, not a sound. Just the sound of breath, your own, right before something sniffs you from behind. We sealed ourselves in the emergency habitat chamber, triple steel bulkheads, manual locks, no digital overrides, and honestly, it wasn't safe because the temperature was climbing, not from the generators, but from the walls. The warmth was artificial. We could feel it, like a slow exhale pressing on our skin, and the air was getting thicker, not with heat, with humidity. Boss figured it out first. They're drawing us here, she said. This isn't a safe zone, it's a womb. We checked the vents, and they were coated lined with some kind of secretion, like translucent. Resin pulsing with veins, warm to the touch. And buried in it were shapes, egg-like, small but growing, twitching if you stayed near them too long. Bishop started tearing the walls open with an emergency cutter, yelling, cursing, trying to find a way out. And that's when it happened. One of the vents opened behind him and a shape dropped down upside down completely. Silent, not leaping, not rushing. It simply slid into the room and stood there, head cocked, skin black as obsidian, slick with bio-oil, long limbs, claws that curved like sickles, and a skull so thin and blade-shaped it looked more like a weapon than a head. It didn't have eyes, but it looked at him anyway. It reached out not to kill but to touch. Bishop froze, and I saw his breath catch in his throat. The thing put a claw to his chest and just tapped, like it was feeling his heartbeat. Then it opened its mouth, but it didn't roar. It clicked a sharp, rhythmic sound that echoed in layers, and from the vents, more answered. We ran, 5 of us left now, sprinting into the upper service tunnels, trying to reach the old freight lift. No power, no override, but we didn't care. At least it led somewhere that wasn't here. They were totally on our trail, just kinda pacing us, you know. Like wolves, but smarter. They knew every corridor, every blind corner, every weak spot in our pattern. Voss said it wasn't just instinct. They were really testing us, figuring out who'd break first, who froze, who slowed down. They don't need to kill us, she said. They need to study us for the next generation. We tried to rest in an old storage bay, sealed, dark, quiet, but the heat never dropped, and we realized the hatchery wasn't in one place. It was everywhere. It wasn't a nest anymore. It was a network, and we were already inside it. One of the scientists Chen checked. Her arm said it was burning. She pulled up her sleeve, and there it was, a welt, red, pulsating slightly, like something had marked her. She swore she hadn't been touched, hadn't been scratched, but the mark was shaped like a spiral, the same pattern we'd seen in the resin. That was when we realized the creatures weren't just hunting for food. They were selecting, tagging, choosing who would become part of the system. And the worst part, the deeper we went to escape them, the more alive the tunnels felt. The walls throbbed faintly, condensation dripping in pulses, and that clicking sound was no longer distant. It was inside the steel, vibrating through the panels like it was in the bones of the facility. We made it to the old prototype lab, the last real airlocked section before the mine shafts. We thought it was abandoned, but someone had been living there recently. There were journals, notes, scribbled in the margins with words like accelerated bonding, bioreceptive implantation, and the phrase, human warmth equals viable. Medium. The last page was torn, stained with something oily. But I could still read the last line. They're not laying in soil anymore. They're laying in us. The Hatchery Below, Part 3. We are the nest we were for at that point. 4 of us left, bleeding, sleep-deprived, half delirious and trapped a mile beneath the surface with creatures that didn't hunt like animals. They moved like algorithms, shifting in patterns, responding to emotional stimulus. They weren't killing. To feed, they were changing the environment. And we were part of that change. Boss stopped talking sometime after the lab. She just stared at the walls, muttering to herself about selective warmth, receptive organs, and adaptation cycles. I tried to get through to her, to snap her out of it, but she kept repeating a single phrase, over and over again. We are the nest now. We tried to keep moving. Deeper into the mining tunnels where the bedrock was less structured. We thought the creatures might avoid those places, but they didn't. If anything, they lived there. And that's when we found the dig team, not dead, but transformed, their bodies cocooned in pulsating resin sacs along the cave wall, still breathing. Eyes open, glassy, their chests rising and falling in sync. Like lungs that weren't theirs anymore. One of them, Franz, his stomach was moving, not bloated like infection, moving like something inside him was adjusting to a new home. Voss dropped to her knees and began whispering again. She said the original goal of the project wasn't just breeding controllable raptors or predators. It was creating a substrate species, a hybrid that could gestate off human biology, something that could learn faster, adapt deeper, and incubate inside hosts without killing them. A symbiotic birth cycle that used human warmth not as a weakness, but as a nursery. I wanted to scream, to vomit, but it was already too late. Chen collapsed, not faint, her back arched hard, and a low, rattling sound came from her throat. She purred, dark veins, skin glistening, freaky, and something pushed outward beneath her neck, stretching the skin before withdrawing again. It adjusted. She smiled. It's okay now. I feel connected. I ran. I don't remember how far. Just deeper, always deeper, until I found the central chamber. I understood. Not an accident, not one nest. It was the entire facility. Redesigned, reshaped, repurposed by the things we created, or maybe released, because now I'm not so sure we made them. The walls were really pulsing, absolutely alive, embedded with layers of half-formed embryos suspended in translucent fluid. The heat was unbearable, not just temperature, but presence, like something immense and unseen was breathing all around me. And at the center, I saw the mother. Yeah, massive and deadly still, coiled around a pillar of bone and steel, her body wrapped in cables and viscera. She was still, her mouth wide open. And inside it, I saw movement, not her tongue, but a face, pressed just behind the translucent tissue, human, trying to scream, maybe, or maybe just smiling. Then my team arrived, but not creatures. But they weren't themselves anymore. Their skin shimmered with that same oily texture, eyes dilated, veins black, but they weren't attacking me. They circled, clicking, but not with mouths, with their throats, in perfect unison, and the resonance of it made my head spin. I just got it. We're their variable, not the prey. Turns out, we were the final phase. Human cognition, predator instinct, biological bonding, the perfect gestation system for a species designed to adapt to any environment, including ours. I blacked out after that. I don't know how I got to the surface. They said I was found wandering near a desert highway, barefoot, dehydrated, and raving in tongues. Quarantined, tested, but they found absolutely nothing. Just trauma, fear. They released me. Lucky. I'm not. I feel it at night when I sleep. Something curling in my spine, like memory that doesn't belong to me. And I dream of heat, of deep stone, of clutching things in the dark, and sometimes I wake up to the sound of clicking, not around me, inside my head. I thought I escaped. No, it just spreads through memory, through contact, through people like me, because we thought we built a prison for them, but we were wrong. They built a nursery inside us. Thanks for watching.